Lean in, lock in, listen. Hey, I know they're fine, but what else? I want to talk today about love or liability. So many times we're focused on how somebody looks, but what about how they treat you? I know we say, well, I don't want to be with anybody ugly, but are you with someone who treats you ugly? I want to talk about love or liability. That's what we're leaning in on today. And even the question, are you in love with a liability? You've got to be in the space and the place with people and even with someone who makes you breathe a lot easier. So many times we're caught up on what somebody buys us and how somebody looks to us, and we're caught up into the whole aspect and the dynamic of just having somebody to have somebody, having somebody so that other people can make us feel or other people can make us see that we are really a valuable type of individual. Your value doesn't emanate from the outside, your value emanates from the inside. And you have to understand that having somebody or the lack thereof does not appraise your value or diminish your value. It doesn't raise your value, it doesn't lower your value. You got to value yourself from the inside out. And so many times, what we have done is we have settled just for the sake of having somebody. When was the last time you spent time with you and actually enjoyed your own company? When was the last time you Netflix and chilled with yourself and actually enjoyed it? When was the last time you took yourself out on a date? You took yourself to a movie. You took yourself to lunch or to dinner. You actually spent time, intentional time with yourself, developing who it is that you are. Because we live in this society to where we believe that somebody is going to complete us when only God does that. I remember I was watching that movie Jerry Maguire some years ago, and Jerry Maguire, played by Tom Cruise, he's in kind of this love interest dance with this particular lady. And, romantically, things on the upswing. And she says to him these words, "You complete me." And it's one of those, oh, isn't that so sweet moments? Oh, so wonderful, so wonderful. And people are oozing, people are gushing about it. But when you really think about that, nobody can complete you, because if that particular person becomes the end all be all to where they complete you, you're going to always be incomplete. Here's what they should do: they should compliment you. And compliment is not just telling you, oh, the suit is nice, the shoes are nice, the earrings are nice, your haircut or your hairdo is nice. It's not about that. It's COMPLEMENT, meaning you become a good fit for them. Real completion that moves you into a place of not competition, but really complimenting one another. And that's saying, listen, you may do certain things that I do very well. You may do certain things that I don't do very well. I may do certain things that you don't do very well. But when we come together, I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. You make me better. It moves us to that particular aspect. And how does that individual who should be a love interest, who may be a love interest, who is a love interest, how do they deal when it comes to times where there's disagreement? Can they disagree without being disagreeable? Can you find a way to come back to center to where now there's connectivity and there's development one to another, where you're literally hearing each other out without making accusations and assertions, and you're beating each other up verbally. How do they handle boundaries? How do they handle, how do they respond to when you say the word no? You really want to get to know somebody, start telling them no. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't be there. No, you can't be here. How do people respond to the word no? Because here's the thing, if they don't respect your boundaries, it's a clear indication that they're a liability and they're not an asset. A liability is someone who's always going to make you feel less than. A liability is always somebody who's going to pull you away from your purpose. A liability is always someone who's going to come with restraints and complaints and disdain and keep you at a disadvantage. A liability is somebody who's always going to be crying and lying and denying. How do they respond to your boundary or the boundaries that you express? And most people cannot embrace your boundaries, will not adhere to your boundaries simply because they don't have any boundaries of their own. Or they don't want to adhere to the boundaries simply because they want to move into a place of control and manipulation. They want you under their thumb. They want to tell you to jump, and then they want you to ask them how high. Love or a liability? Are you in love with a liability? Been praying for a soulmate, but you're connected to a soul tie. So you're always wrapped up. You're always tied up. You're always tangled up in negativity and in mess. And you feel as if you can't really, truly express yourself. And so you go along just to get along. You placate. You move into a place of just living from a level of niceness, but not of kindness. You always have a wishbone and not a backbone. You never stand 10 toes down on what it is that you say. And so people always transgress against you. People always trespass on the boundaries, quote unquote, that you have not even set, that you have not even expressed. And you can never set any boundaries with anybody else until you first set the boundary with yourself. Got to have that real talk conversation with yourself. Why do you feel like you need to be in this particular connection or this particular relationship? Is there a place in your life to where you feel insufficient, where you feel deficient? Are you looking for somebody to make you happy? Because nobody can make you happy. Here's what they should do. They should add to the happiness that you already have internally. Too many people that were going into relationships from a place of deficit, from a place of insufficiency, from a place of mother wounds, from a place of father wounds, from a place of generational trauma and toxicity. And we want somebody to be the end all be all. And when they cannot become that mother or that father or that particular individual that you lost in your life, they can't necessarily become the ex that you felt as if it should have worked out, but now you're punishing them for the past. Until you remedy yourself, until you heal from the vestiges of your past, your life will always be in a place of toxicity. You'll always be in a new relationship with the same old person. New face, same place. And until we get to a particular place of doing the healing internally, taking the time to be by yourself and understanding that singleness is not a curse, loving yourself so you're not a liability to anybody else in a relationship, loving yourself so you're not a liability to yourself. Because to a certain degree, when we're talking about love or liability, are you in love with a liability? A lot of times we're only solely predicating that on somebody else, but not looking at the places within ourselves to where we're not an asset. There are some loopholes of liability within our own life. Having that real talk conversation, being very open and transparent and honest with yourself and where it is that you are right now. And when you're coming from a place of insufficiency or coming from a place of a deficit, people will play on that insufficiency and that deficiency of what it is that you have not remedied. When you're only looking for somebody to become what it is that you did not have, you won't have. You'll always feel limited. You'll always feel less than, rather than leaning in on what it is that you need to do for you. Too many people are not able or won't sit with themselves long enough to see what it is that they need to change about themselves. It's always somebody else, but it's never them. And until they can take accountability and responsibility, relationships will always end in a dead end. Relationships will always become the liability, and we'll begin to think that everybody else is the liability but ourselves. And here's the thing, we always remain a liability when we fail to take accountability. When you look within yourself, when you say, listen, I need to get better at this, I can be better at that. It wasn't just everybody else's fault. It was some things that you did internally within yourself that now here it is, because you're not healed. Now you attract people that reflect the pattern of the life that you live. We focus so much on people, but a lot of times we need to break those patterns. And when you break that pattern to begin to love yourself, when you break that pattern to begin to see that you have worth and that you have value, and you don't need affirmation from everybody, you can affirm yourself. When you can tell yourself that you're handsome, when you can tell yourself that you're beautiful and really mean it, and not only feel it if somebody else tells you, and then you feel bad if nobody tells you at all, because you won't tell you and you won't believe the words that you tell you about you. You'll always stay where it is that you are. You'll always be reaching and never grasping. If you don't deal with the baggage of what it is that you're carrying, and I've told somebody this before, I said, listen, relationships are like an airplane. Too much baggage, relationships like boarding an airplane. Too much baggage is going to cost you. And not only is it going to cost you, here's the thing, it could cost you your life. It could cost you whatever it is that you work for. It could cost you all of the things in regard to your love and to your next level. And now you become a liability because not only is it costing you, but it's causing you to crash. Not only is it costing you, but it's causing you to crash. And here's what we have to do. We have to unpack the baggage of what it is that we've been carrying. It gets to a particular place in your life beyond just age, but stage, because age does not necessarily define maturity, because you could be an old fool too. Age doesn't define maturity. Stage defines maturity. When you get to that particular stage in your life to say, listen, I'm not going to blame anybody else anymore. I'm not going to expect anybody else to love me when I need to heal me. I'm not going to expect anybody else to be what it is that I didn't have. But now I'm going to look at that. You're going to look at that man, and you're going to look at that woman in the mirror so that you can see your vision clear. And when you do that, you now heal from what hurt you. You don't wish people hell, you wish people well. Why? Because you see the good in goodbye, but you also saw the hell in hello too. You see how you get better. You see how you grow stronger. You see the accountability and the responsibility of what it is that you stepped into. You see that now you're drawing a line in the sand and you're saying, this is my boundary. I'm not going to acquiesce on this. I'm not going to surrender on this particular aspect and capacity. I am going to live on a new level. And that new level uses it as a launching pad to overcome the liability. Because now you're going to be an asset to yourself, and you can never be an asset to anybody else until you're first an asset to yourself and for yourself. Come on, there's something great about you that the right person needs. There's something great about you that you have to step into first before anybody else will be able to embrace who it is that you are. Love of liability. No longer can you be in love with the liability. Anybody that's trying to downplay you, anybody that's trying to depress you and oppress you and compress you and repress you, anybody that's trying to subjugate and subdue you, it's not the right one for you. Anybody that's trying to make your life feel claustrophobic, and doesn't want you to spread your wings, doesn't want you to breathe, doesn't want you to believe, doesn't want you to shoot for the moon, and maybe you land among the stars. Anybody who's intimidated will be eliminated. Why? Because you've leveled up and you recognize that there's something good and there's something great about you that you need first. And then when you tap into it, you can be a person who is a conduit of it, and you can give it, and you can empower the right person to lift you, to lead with you, and to love you. You got to get my latest book. It's called Know Your No. Family is my 19th book. How to Build Healthy Boundaries and Love Without Losing Yourself. It's available right now on Amazon as an ebook, as a hard copy. You can even get a signed copy of this book on my website, EddieConnor.com. If you're going to have healthy relationships, you got to have healthy boundaries. Let me say that again. If you're going to have healthy relationships, you have to have healthy boundaries. And it begins with you before it ends with them too. It begins with you before it ever continues and before it ever ends with them too. Know your no, know who to know, and also know who to know, so that you can say yes in your season of success. So that you can say yes to the right one and no to the wrong one. Once again, go get it on Amazon as an ebook. You can also get it as a hard copy. You can also get a signed copy on my website, EddieConnor.com. It's a riveting read, cover to cover, talking about narcissism, talking about how to build healthy boundaries, talking about the boundaries that you need to use to execute with friends and family and coworkers and so on and so on and so forth. Aren't you tired of being tired? Aren't you tired of just going through life? And aren't you tired of just dancing with two left feet to the beat of everybody else's drum? I figured you would be. Get this book and let it be a remedy right now. Soar with me into my amazing Eagles communities where I empower you to soar into greater success and purpose, where I coach you, I teach you, I train you, I mentor you. It's in my amazing Eagles Academy community where it's all about leveling up. It's all about building boundaries, your business, the blueprint for your life, increasing your bank account. Yes, increasing the aspects of who it is that you are, ideas to increase your ideas and information to increase your impact, your influence. That's what we're doing. Increasing your ideas, your impact, and your influence. To be a part of my amazing community, do this right now. Go to theeaglesacademy.com, theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the join now button. I want you to fill out the form. I guarantee that you're going to be transformed. Theeaglesacademy.com, fill out the form. Tap the join now button. When you get there, fill out the form, be transformed, and let's soar to greater levels of success and purpose. Speaking of transformation, I know you were transformed by this conversation. Yes, I know you were transformed by this conversation. I want you to share a Cash App. Just send a Cash App, $ Dr. Eddie Ministries, PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, Zelle, EddieConnorJr, gmail.com. Once again, you can do that. Cash App, $ Dr. Eddie Ministries, PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, Zelle, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com. I appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button. I've been growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel for change, our channel that creates change, our channel that breaks chains. It's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother. And I mean that from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know a brother got to run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you, talking to you now, to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring higher. I want you to go ahead and get your hands on my new book, Know Your No. It's all about how to build healthy boundaries and love without losing yourself. Boundaries are not limitations. Boundaries are for liberation. You're going to find a way to unbox yourself. You're going to find a way to really love yourself and to move into a place of emotional regulation, to stand your ground, to draw a line in the sand, stand 10 toes down on it. Don't do the electric slide. Don't moonwalk away from it, but really stand wholeheartedly down on what it is that you say. It's for your protection. It's for your self-care. Moves you into a greater place of self-awareness and emotional regulation, and developing your mental health and creating boundaries so that you can abound to a new and a greater level. Go right now to get a signed copy at EddieConnor.com. EddieConnor.com. And then, of course, you can also get it on Amazon. Go and get the book right now.